It's been over a month since the tragedy that was bestowed upon the Slidell family, in which Brother Chu, unfortunately, was murdered, and Tophia's mother was taken to the hospital, and Tophia's been trying to figure out her place in the world since that moment, and there have been a lot of things going down, including a potential GoFundMe scam, misallocating of funds and money just being wasted, potentially, hamming it up of her actual interest in her own brother, potentially not doing some necessary service things that she needed to do. And we're going to examine all of these. So basically, when the tragedy happened, I personally didn't feel super comfortable just jumping right into it. I wanted to let some of the stuff marinate a little bit, and at the end of the day, I think everybody made it pretty clear that they're going to put things to the side when something as tragic as this occurred. And if you're curious of getting more information about exactly what went down, there were a bunch of good videos that people did out there, including one of Kiwi Tapes that I'll put on the screen now, that you can go watch, and it gives you a good background of all the information that led to the unfortunate passing of Tophia's brother. But at this point, we are going to focus on the GoFundMe and what Tophia is planning on doing moving forward. To start off with, as soon as the tragedy happened, it was extremely sad to see some of Tophia's posts. The way that she was coping, the way that she was reacting, she initially even had like a sponsorship video that she had to do, and the company couldn't get back to her, so she couldn't back out of it, so she felt obligated to still do it, but she was in the hospital. It was just this whole charade, and it makes you feel like kind of icky and makes you feel very sad, for a lot of sympathy going towards her.
So hey guys, I have to do a review on this hoodie I got. It's a hoodie that has like Stevie Nicks, and I love Stevie Nicks. It was delivered, and I messaged the company telling them, hey, my brother died, I'm going through a situation, I won't be able to make a review. No response. If I don't review this product, I'm gonna face a strike, so I gotta post this video. I'm gonna tag it if you want to get a hoodie below. Sorry, this is not a good time to be promoting a product, but...
And it seems like it's some sort of TikTok service program, because I'm unaware of not reviewing a product and getting a strike on any other social media platform. It's probably like a bounty system type of thing, like something that Twitch would have, where companies would come out and ask you to advertise certain things, and if you accept it, you have a time frame and then post your video or whatever, and then you get paid for it. And I guess if you don't do it, it's probably bad for your sponsorship algorithm or whatever, and it can harm your money-making schemes. So she had that issue, and she had to follow through with that. And progressively, as I mentioned, when the tragedy happened, a GoFundMe popped up to get funds to pay for funeral costs and other ancillary needs that Tophia would have, and including towards her mom. And people started to come out with their own opinions about what Tophia or her family should do. And Tophia did not take this very kindly. She viewed it as people were trying to make money off of her name, make money off of a tragedy, and she had to give her 2 cents when people started to chime in.
I see that she's on social media asking for help, like always. But at this point, I think that they should send her mom to a home, to a nursing home, where she is going to be eaten, getting taken care of, a warm bed, and she can recover from there.
Second of all, you made this video over 1 minute, which suggests to me, because you have 60,000 followers, you need 10,000 followers to be in the creator fund. You are profiting off of my situation. My brother is dead because people bullied and harassed me every place I lived at and got me kicked out of every single place, right? You don't want to take accountability for that. It took my brother dying and me going through something traumatic for everybody to suddenly want to help and to suddenly want to care when we have been asking help for months. And it didn't have to be money. You're talking about shelters. We went to the West Side shelter. You want to know what happened the first day we went? Hours to get a bed. A lady got attacked by a dog in the face. And the police suggested not to go to the West Side shelter because it's very, very, very unsafe. I'm supposed to be taking a break, but you made this video over 1 minute to profit off of my situation. Talking about no handouts, talking about I'm going to profit off of this. What are you doing?
It's pretty crazy that Tophia and Cyrax had the same opinion about the carjacking situation. The carjacking was just an unfortunate timing, wrong place, wrong location, and a tragedy ensues from it. And it's not because people call you out on the internet for doing stupid shit, alright? That's not why this unfortunate tragedy happened. And to try and twist it this way to garner sympathy, or in your mind conjure up a rationale as to why, you know, you can't pay for things, or you need the audience to pay for things, or however you want to construe it, is in poor taste, in my opinion, for your deceased brother, and it doesn't reflect very positively on yourself. Now, to stem off of that, she goes into the tirade about, well, what are we gonna do? You know, all these things were happening, and how could you expect it not to occur from this? And it's like, the solution leading up to all this is not to continue to go to the well and try and get money out of your audience and try and raise funds that way. It's to go out and find a job and make money off of that job, because throughout her time online, Tophia doing TikTok and other things associated with that has not brought in nearly enough money. And to my knowledge, I'm not going to get into the allegations related to Brother Chu and all that stuff, but it seemed like he put in effort at times to actually get money, at least for himself, service his car, whatever, go out and do his job. And now Tophia has to pick up that mantle, but instead she is looking for the alternative of, oh, well, you guys were so mean to us before, now you have to give us money. That's the impression I'm getting off of it. And it's like, the reason you can separate the two entities of a tragedy happened and people are looking to help you move forward from that tragedy, and also just because you refuse to get a job and your unfortunate situations led you to being homeless are not directly correlated to each other. People don't have to give you money because you're down on your luck, and at the same time, people technically don't have to give you money because a tragedy occurred. They're reaching out, and I do think there is some amount of double standard existing within that approach. If you think, man, this is horrible, what happened to her, I'm gonna send her a couple bucks. Well, the way she was living in her brother's car in random parks and church parking lots and stuff also wasn't the greatest situation to have to suffer through. So I don't know. I mean, like, I kind of get her viewpoint a little bit, but at the same time, she makes no effort at trying to dig herself out of situations. Now, I'm going to give her some amount of, I don't know, buffer, because after going through something as tragic as this, regardless of if her behavior lines up, if, in your opinion, she's being, you know, sympathetic or empathetic about her brother's passing enough, regardless, I think you can give her some time. And I don't even know how long that time period would be before she tried to adjust back to a more normal lifestyle. But at some point, you have to figure your shit out, because getting a couple bucks here and there from the internet, it's not going to last forever, and it's just going to jeopardize you even more into the future, because you're putting yourself in this situation that is not easily avoided, right? Like, finding a job and being able to move somewhere else that is slightly nicer is still difficult. It's still complicated, but you have to show effort. That's all I'm trying to say.
I have trauma. I have PTSD. I'm not okay. Maybe I did get injured. Maybe I'm not as bad as my brother and my mom, but I still have mental problems now. I still have trauma. I'm still afraid. I'm scared. My dad's in jail. I had nobody in that moment. I was alone in the street. People won't leave me alone, and they still won't leave me alone. When is enough gonna be enough? When are you gonna stop? My brother is dead.
And here's part of the dilemma, right? Because these people that are perpetually online, their entire existence exists within their little magic rectangle and on their specific social media platform. They just can't get away from it. They have to consume that all the time. And it's obviously not a good coping mechanism for something as traumatic that is occurring. And like, some people probably aren't going to be as sympathetic as I like to imagine I'm trying to be for her, in the situation of her family life has been just fucked up basically forever, and she has this horrible thing go on. I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and expect her to magically transform her life, because she hasn't done any of these things leading up to this horrible moment. It's going to take a lot of effort to try and persevere through it. But with her posting stuff online and people giving their 2 cents, it's just like, you can sort of get sucked into this like negativity vacuum. And it happens a lot. Even ignoring her situation, plenty of other times. I mean, if you're gonna post stuff online, there's gonna be some amount of people that consume that are gonna shit on you or leave a hate comment or talk about how much they don't like what you're doing or whatever. And regardless of if it's true or not, it's going to stick in your head a little bit. And now you have that compounded with other things, and it's like, you should be focusing on your family, should be focusing on your mom, focus on yourself, and leave it at that. Now, the whole GoFundMe thing starts to spiral a little bit because, and we'll get into Tophia's explanation at the end of this video, but essentially she was given money allegedly, and somebody saw her go to a JCPenney and purchase a lot of shit. And here's that video.
It's fucking Tophia. I fucking saw Tophia!
So basically you have that short little clip of her walking with 2 bags full of whatever to go back to wherever she's living. And I'm not exactly sure what that is. I know whenever whenever there's like a disaster crisis unit type of thing, typically they are able to have some funds allocated to a victim to get clothes, get food, have temporary housing somewhere if it's necessary. Because that's one thing too, is like a component of this that's hard to rationalize is like, the car, Brother Chu's car, was their home, was their transportation. Now it's apparently being held by detectives, and I mean, there's trauma associated with it, or you want to take it back, and I don't know. Everything associated with it is rough, and now you have other people giving their 2 cents.
But they kind of saw this coming, and it's been about a month that her brother, was unalived, and his body was still at the mortuary home, just kind of sitting there. Tophia wasn't doing anything to fix the situation. People called the mortuary home recently, and they were told that, since she wasn't really doing anything, that an organization decided to pay for his cremation, so his body just wouldn't continue sitting there. And it's unfortunately that this is the situation, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people knew that she was going to start misusing the money, that she was going to cash in for her brother's unaliving.
And if it does come out that she has been fraudulently using this GoFundMe money for herself, she don't have to pay that back. And she hasn't been going live. She hasn't really been doing any posts. So she hasn't been getting any money outside of the money that y'all have sent her for this GoFundMe for the funeral. And she has to pay that back. She's screwed.
So the big thing of note is that trolls were reaching out to the funeral home that Brother Chu was being held in, and apparently they claim that he was actually cremated because Tophia didn't come in to settle the dispute or whatever. If you look into it, a lot of states have this clause where if somebody dies and gets sent to a funeral home and there's no way for the family to pay, or they don't have family to contact, there are different businesses, nonprofits, or the state itself that will fund the cremation of that person. And that's what it seems like occurred here. Now, as to how these funds are allocated, where they're going to be sent to, Tophia is going to go on a long spiel talking about different things. She has a very simple response to start out with, talking about the walking out of JCPenney or wherever with bags full of clothes.
You know what Grubhub was? I can't buy stuff to cook because where I'm at we can't cook, but we can have microwavable stuff like that. I still need clothes. There's still a lot of stuff that I need, and I'm so frustrated about people thinking that I scam people.
She puts out this basic response of, I'm not scamming people, I got some money. She mentioned that her mom's side of the family gave her a gift card to different places, or maybe it was like a Visa or something that she could spend it on. And the crisis unit, when the whole situation went down, gave her a $500 gift card for Grubhub to get food wherever she's staying. You know, maybe it's complicated. Maybe they don't have a good refrigerator. Sounds like they don't have an oven, so you can only microwave stuff. So, you know, I'll give some leniency, right? Like, you have to give some amount of leniency. She's got to figure a lot of shit out regardless. You know, everybody wants to say, go get a job, go fund your own shit, and it's going to be complicated. Now, the aspect of, well, what's going to happen to all these funds, because people are alleging that they donated to the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe is currently under investigation or something, or is being under review by the company, and some people have gotten refunds allegedly. Now, Tophia is going to explain her side of the story, where that money came from, who set up the GoFundMe, what the funds are going to be allocated towards.
Because I'm so sick and tired of people thinking that it's normal for people on Reddit to contact the morgue with my brother's information, pretend to be his family, and then spread lies and misinformation on the internet about me scamming people out of a GoFundMe I don't have access to. I don't know how many times I have to scream or yell or, you know, get it through people's heads. Maybe someone, you know, I don't know, I need to scream in your ears. Some of you guys need to clean out your ears with Q-tips before you start running your mouth, because how am I scamming people out of a GoFundMe I don't have? Do you know that the GoFundMe is stuck in the process session that is processing, that I can't even set up an appointment to bury my brother because people wanted to report it? Oh, whoops, that's why my brother hasn't been buried. Let's talk about that, because my brother hasn't been buried because now it's stuck in processing. Do you know that it takes 14 to 17 days for cremation, and that people pretended to be his family just so they could say he's cremated and I'm not doing anything with the money?
So this, like, 10-minute long story that she made going over all these allegations didn't really help her out all that much, because she basically interchangeably uses cremation and burial of her brother, and those two are two completely separate things. A burial obviously is taking the body and putting it somewhere, and at the very least you can also take cremated ashes and bring it to a cemetery, and maybe they have like a mausoleum or something you can put it within or whatever. So there's that option, but that's not what it seems like is going to take place. It seems like the state has or is going to cremate it themselves because Tophia won't have the funds for it, and she is supposed to go collect the ashes. There is a scenario, and like, I'm not trying to slam doink on Tophia a whole ton in this video. It's a more serious topic, so I'm trying not to pull goose and gags, but like, she hasn't said the most intelligent things throughout the time of me watching her, and maybe there's a possibility that she is unaware of how the cremation process works, what she's supposed to do with the ashes. Maybe, I don't know, but she gets into more specifics about where this money came from and why she was seen carrying bags out of a store.
You see this lovely little card that was condolences for my mom's family? This lovely little card had $300 in it. You know where the $300 went? To Ross and TJ Maxx. You know why? Because I needed pajamas that I didn't have to sleep in because I was sleeping in jeans. I only had one pajama that I bought from Walmart. On top of the stuff that I bought, I did go shopping at Walmart with a $200 gift card that the crime victims unit gave me, on top of a $500 gift card to Grubhub, which I can't find the receipts in Grubhub because it's disappeared. But I spent $500 of that gift card to Grubhub because people want to say, well, you bought Grubhub with what money? I didn't pay for any of that food with any money. It was given to me by the crime victims unit to buy food from Grubhub. Ross, maybe I have family on my mom's side that gave us money to be able to afford and buy the things that we need. So maybe stop pocket watching people and stop telling people how to spend money that was given to them. Because my mom's family gave us $300, and that $300 went to buy me bras, went to buy my mom bras because she needed it. Oh wait, I'm sorry, we don't need that. I don't even need underwear, to be honest with you. I'm not supposed to do that. Oh, I didn't need a cup. My cup is in storage, which it's very, very hard to get into storage for certain reasons. I had a tumbler in the car, but I can't get to my car because I can't even get clothes from my car because it's still with detectives. But yet again, here is Miss Eats Too Much Big Macs trying to come on the internet and say that I am scamming people.
So here's the thing. She says that her family was willing to give her money now, and that's sort of churning some things in my brain that's like, where was this family to give money to them when they're living in their car all this time? Maybe they were? I don't know. Tophia in the past made it seem like she was financing and she was funding everything that they needed to get done while they were living in the car. The clothes thing makes perfect sense. Their entire lives was in the car. If it's taken by detectives, by the police department, by whoever, they're not going to have access to it. I don't know. I feel like you might be able to get some of your belongings out of it. I don't know how the whole scenario will work, but I'll give her some amount of that. But it makes you a little bit skeptical about her family not contributing to helping them in the past, but now something happens and they're contributing now. It's not the least likely story in the entire world, I would say, but it's making people raise their eyebrows. And when you're dealing with tragedy like this, that's like the last thing you want. You don't want to have any controversy surrounding it. It's just going to make your entire life worse.
Out of a GoFundMe I don't have access to. So let's talk about that GoFundMe. That GoFundMe is started by my brother's friend, which you all know, Brian. I didn't ask anyone to make a GoFundMe, and I am so thankful that they did. Now, with the GoFundMe that I didn't ask to be made, nor is it my GoFundMe, do I have access to it? No, he has access to it. He's going to go down to the cemetery once it processes and pay what needs to be paid after we set up an appointment so my brother can be buried. Yes, you know, it takes thousands of dollars to bury someone, and let's talk about what the state paid. The state paid for the service and the cremation. They did not pay for the burial because they paid only up to $6,000. You know what $6,000 is? That's for a service. Do you not know how much it is just for a service and cremation? Yeah, it was close to $6,000. So the thousands of other dollars, which is like 4,000 something, more than that probably. I don't know, when we get down there we'll see. To bury someone on top of that. So that's like a good $10,000 just for everything together. So I don't have like the money, right, to bury my brother because I was poor and sleeping out of a car. And I shouldn't have to come on here and make videos addressing this. But it is so depressing that people think I'm supposed to just get up and go get a job when I have trauma. You know, the lovely internet does not let people grieve in peace. Like, I'm supposed to just run, snap, hop, and jump. And, you know, bury him when it takes 4 to 17 days for cremation. On top of that, I need to get my documentation, which is my birth certificate, and my ID, which my ID was stuck in the car. So I had to get a new ID because it's stuck in evidence. And on top of that, I had to get my birth certificate because it was stolen. And then on top of that, I had to get my social security card in order for me to be able to get a place and to have money to pay for a place to live. Oh, well, on top of doing what everyone else thinks I should do, hop, skip, run, and jump because I'm supposed to snap when you say so. Don't run your mouth, okay? Because they gave me $300 and I can spend it how I like because my mom's family, it was there when no one else was, you know? And now I gotta wait for my brother to be buried because wonderful people are making the GoFundMe process take 2 days. So there's that. That's why my brother also hasn't been buried. Maybe leave people alone and they'll leave you alone, okay?
And this is like the worst response. So basically, you're telling me that you were incapable of getting back your identification from the car. Makes me not believe that at all. That's confusing. You have to go get all your new shit on your own. The police aren't going to help you at all with that. That seems weird. Secondly, it's been over a month and you haven't gone to the morgue to at least figure out the logistics, what you have to figure out. People are claiming that he was already cremated. And it's not costing the funeral home $6,000 to do the cremation, right? If you just do a basic Google search, the $6,000 is an estimate to do an entire funeral service that includes cremation. And the cremation is usually less than $1,000, right? And that includes the cost of storage of the body, the actual cremation, and like an urn that you might want to get. And it can be much cheaper than that. So like, the numbers aren't adding up, and she's throwing out extra numbers of like, oh, we still have to pay the service fee and we still got to do all that. And it's like, maybe she actually wants to do a service for her brother, or like, I don't know, store his ashes within a cemetery somewhere. That's all possible. I'm not doubting that necessarily, but like, when is that going to occur? You're just going to let it prolong forever? And at that point, when people start to investigate and come up with their own solutions or results to things that are contradicting you, it's going to make people think that you're scamming them and that you are just receiving money continuously with no intentions of actually following through with a funeral or whatever the initial plans were supposed to be, right? And then calling out people and saying, oh, well, the $300 I got, I can spend it on whatever I want. It's like, she still hasn't learned anything from her previous infractions, right? Like, that money should exclusively go towards needs. Buying a new tumbler at Ross or wherever you're going is not 100% a necessity, okay? You should focus on, we have to get survival foods, get a couple new pieces of clothes if you're unable to retrieve your previous belongings, and figure it out from there. I'm not telling you to go get a job. I'm saying you have to figure out what the solution is, because your mom, I'm assuming, is still in the hospital. She can't plan all this. Your dad's in jail. It's up to you, and it's difficult. She's young. I understand that. You have to have some amount of empathy, because it's like, being thrown into this situation is hard, and the worst thing you can do is just push it off and push it off and push it off. You have to find some amount of solution, and it really doesn't seem like she is moving towards that. People are speculating that the funds aren't being allocated to the right places. It's under investigation. It's a whole thing. So I'd be curious what your guys' opinion is about this. I thought I would just throw it together because I've been standing on the sideline looking at some of the things, but I haven't really commented on it, and I thought I'd do it now. So either way, hope you enjoyed. Till next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.